Trouble. I think Limits is dead. This has been ripped
They've
apart.
got two.
One trouble bubble is all it takes. 2 kills found. Pigger on the board again. Freo on 1. Rough and lane, but popping off in the team fights. That's where it counts. Fido now running members down. He's got the Undying Rage active. He's found himself a double on the back end of that team fight. Leonel looking to try and lock members in place to allow members to take them down. But Fido's just too strong.
Hey, I'm Dimitri. I'm Fido. I play mid for Kanga Esports. And my original name I just stole from my martial arts teacher. His name was P-Doink. And I was like, hold on, my last name starts with B, so make it B-Doink. And it wasn't really my name, if you know what I mean? Like, it was just more like from a role model. So I just wanted to do something that's mine. I used to play StarCraft. There was a mod in StarCraft, like the Dota mod, like sort of emulation where you played just the one hero. And then League came by and I was like, oh, this is my jam. So I switched to League. Thankfully I did, because StarCraft died. When we had the first intake date for OPL, because I played OPL one split, Sin, and we had a little intake date, and I showed up, and just like everybody there, and just the whole atmosphere, I just knew that these are my people. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're surrounded with people, and they're nice people, and you like them, but they're just not like you, if that makes sense. Like they're just different people. But then there I was like right at home. You know, we're just all awkward nerds having a bit of fun. You know, getting paid to play our favorite video game. So there you go. I did imagine esports as a perfect world. It's not a perfect world, and it takes a lot of work to make a team run smoothly. Yeah, I thought that if I just do my part, it would be enough, sort of thing. But you have to be willing to do more. You have to be willing to do what it takes. A lot of players have this mindset where they think that more is better, right? But a lot of the times, less is more. It's like if you play too many games, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get less motivated if you're not approaching your practices properly with the three block games and reviewing. And shout out to Coach Curtis if he's watching it. Coach Curtis, best channel on YouTube. If you want to improve, watch his channel. Best league content. I don't really compare myself to one player. I just try and learn from the tendencies that people have, the things that work, the things that don't. Because I think if you try to copy someone, you'll never really be as good as them. Everybody who plays wants to be the best, so I'll do what it takes to be the best. I don't think I'm the best right now, but I want to be the best.
What a beautiful interview with Fido. Man's just full of information, full of knowledge. Coach Curtis on YouTube. I wrote that one down. Gonna go have a look at that later. Learn some more things about it. Lol.
Former OPL player.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And coach.
Is he?
Used to be with the Wolves.
Is he like Aussie NZ guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Used to play with the Direwolves.
There you go. I'll go meet him on his YouTuber sphere. I guess.
What was he called before? Because he wasn't Curtis until he was a coach.
That's before my time, mate.
It's going to piss me off. Someone please tweet the answer at me before I lose my mind.
There you go. Now look, I've got some good news before we jump on into the match discussion. Okay, I don't have good news, but you guys will see it when you see it. Now, let's start talking game. Let's talk Kanga first.
Sick.
So, I got denied that one. Liv up top did real well yesterday. Foreigner in the jungle.
It's
teamed
Team
up with Fido
DLC.
really well. Huh?
Team DLC.
Yeah. What do you mean?
We've yet to unlock all their characters.
Yep, true. True, still got to win a few more fights, win a few more games before we unlock the Foreigner and the TNC photos. Now, let's jump on into the other team, see what they're going to be able to bring to the table in terms of characters. Oh, everyone's unlocked here. Gimme, tell me about them.
Yeah, the boys.
Thank you.
That's it.
Rusty, tell me about it. Dante, the leading Dare MVPer of the LCO so far.
One of the best Ezreals that we've seen as well in the LCO.
Part of the brand, mate. You're from New Zealand. Of course you're the best.
Coupled with one of the best bards that we've seen. Because he's the only bard that we've seen, but he was a good one.
And interestingly enough, Zierman is probably one of the better mid laners we've seen so far, this split at least.
Yeah.
And this man has been robbed from a few MVPs just because Dante has outshined him.
Yeah, I think that's true. Also, like, Suma's an interesting one because he comes in as an assassin player. He's known as an assassin player. He picks assassins into matchups where he has no right winning and still finds a way. So it shows his proficiency, one, on the champions, and two, the team with him playing those champions, that they find angles that really shouldn't exist and they're able to get wins as a result.
Well, going into this one, I feel like Kanga, look, they're coming into this on a high note. Got a big dub yesterday, one that they were very happy with. Direwolves as well, look, last time they played, obviously took the W, and they're looking to make it a 2-zip affair. Oh, this was that Bard game where I think we first saw Bulldog playing the Bard, and he had a couple of interesting magical journeys.
He did. He had a lot of very interesting ones that literally went from, you know, a pixel to a pixel over. This was the debut, actually, for TNC, right, when he played the Lulu, and I think this was the last game Lemus played before they shuffled around their bot lane. So it's almost like we've gone full circle back to where it all began.
I remember there was a lot of backstage critique from Kitty. I was learning a lot about what to do to support when TNC was, you know, walking around, staying on vision on the map, not allowing solo XP to ADCs. I was like, I didn't know you do all these things. Maybe I should start playing support, you know. Anyway, Kitty's not challenger anymore. Maybe
she might be now. She was only like 30 LP off.
True.
Grinding hard, eh?
Status report.
Getting real close. Kitty, if you're in Twitch chat, please, status report. We can talk about that. But we can also talk about what's going on this game. Which way do we see this one going? I feel like, look, Kanga are in with a bigger shot than what I feel like a lot of people are going to give them with what we saw yesterday, coming in, looking for a win streak and looking to make it a 1-to-1 affair with Direwolves. Of course, Direwolves, look, have been playing out of their damn minds, and we got to see a little bit of Shaco gameplay yesterday. That was fun. That was a whole lot of fun. You know, Spam laughing on the ult getting killed as well. I'm a big fan of Poltron. I just need to point that one out.
It just gave me flashbacks to that show match we had. Were you even playing the Shaker, right? So it almost like rings back true that, you know, it's one of those pocket picks that can be really exciting to see. I think it's just a crazy draft overall. That the fact that you can draft like double assassins in a way as a mid-jungle combo and say, like, if we just lose early, we're going to just lose the game as a whole. But
yeah, they shouldn't get away with it.
They found a way. Like, they literally, to your point, they keep getting away and they can't keep getting away with it.
Except when they verse Peace and they pick Lissandra and beat them.
They're true.
Oh, yeah, true.
Because they can't get away with that.
Very true. Now, look, someone that is probably very ready for everything Kanga's going to be thrown at it today is Zoranus, and I got him on the line to have a chat to. Zoranus, how you feeling going into today's game, mate?
Feeling pretty confident, but you never know, so we're well prepared for today.
Okay, expecting, you know, something crazy to be thrown out. You know, we got Poltron lined up on the Shaco again. That was fun yesterday. Now, look, going up against Lived, are you worried, you know, Lived can have his, like, really pop-off games, or do you sort of, you know, always go in real confident?
Like, to be honest, I think I'll do fine, but top lane as a role is not very good, I'd say. You don't have that much impact, so I feel like it's more going to come down to what happens on the bot side of the map.
Very true. So I'm expecting tank gameplay today then, if you're talking like that. No crazy carries, no crazy fun. That's all right. That's all right. Now, team comp-wise, are you expecting, you know, that battle in mid? We've seen Seaman really popping off, especially when he gets on the Akali. Up against Fido, though, you know Fido's got a slightly different champ pool. Do you think he's going to have a good time today?
Of course. I always believe in Simon to win.
Yeah, easy peasy. Now, quickly, before we wrap up the interview, it's National Ice Cream Month. Found out that someone likes mayo ice cream earlier. Might have been a misinterpretation. But what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Green tea ice cream.
Oh, straight on it. The matcha. Matcha? Yeah. Whatever it is. Anyway, look, I'll let you go. Enjoy your ice cream. Enjoy the game too.
Thank you.
Quick one. Real quick one with him.
He's color themed with his ice cream.
He's on brand.
Bet your Direwolves paid him to say matcha.
He's a paid actor.
Looks like a werewolf too, I'll be honest.
Yeah, very true.
That's a compliment.
Now, look, their fan vote time. Points in. Get them. I feel like Kanga in with a real shot. Direwolves, though. You can't fault them. Every single time, that bot lane, the synergy between the NZ boys is just so strong. And it feels like Dante, he's just been drawing a lot of eyes. I always seem to forget about Seaman, but then he'll pop up. You know, he'll be just farming away in mid lane. Then he'll just rotate out of bloody nowhere, be in the team fight, kill everyone, and then go back to doing what he was doing. And that's what I really like about Direwolves. Now, let's have a look at our predictions Has anyone gone spicy? Kitty has.
Congratulations,
Oh,
Kanga, on your win.
Kitty's won.
Based off the logic of the past 2 weeks.
Congratulations.
Ridiculous.
The sole Kanga predictor, Kanga just can't lose now.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
true. Well,
There's no logic.
Skimmy,
We don't even need to talk anymore.
Skimmy, condolences. You're not going to be tied for
Congratulations,
first.
Kitty. You are now the smartest analyst that is not on the desk. So enjoy Twitch chat.
Yeah, enjoy Twitch chat. Also send in any analysis there. I'm sure everyone will read it. I don't see Twitch chat, so I can't read it right now. But look, in the future or my past, maybe I will read it. Who knows? Now this game, where are we expecting Kanga to get their ins? Is it going to be bot lane? Is it going to be mid?
Foreigner.
Foreigner? Straight up.
Based off yesterday's game, Foreigner's
Sure.
going to 1v9, get Viego.
Viego.
No 200 center stacks needed. He was just too good.
Yep.
I mean, legitimately, if that's the way you want to beat the Direwolves, I think that's the way that makes the most sense.
Mm.
I also have come to the realization that I feel like Direwolves don't play for their jungler. I feel like their jungler just plays for their lanes.
Yep.
And so if you can target Poltron, he probably does just fall behind. But I don't know if I've seen that attacked yet, so I'm not sure how Direwolves would react.
I wonder what the difference in like comms is between both these teams, because Kanga's had a few changes. Maybe the synergies are still taking a little bit of work, but Direwolves have been rock solid since the starter split too. We've had that conversation with Poltron ex-coach being in there, being able to talk while the game's live and just instruct what's going on, remember all the tendencies of their opponents. And that's the other thing we're probably overlooking here as well, is Poltron does a lot of work into a lot of these teams to try to figure out what's going on. Zorinus did say in the interview that they're very prepared, so hopefully we don't see Direwolves getting caught off guard by anything too crazy coming out of Kanga today.
I think that's always interesting, right? When you do get a coach becomes a player, that you sort of hear the lens they put on the game, the approach that they bring to it, as to sort of what are they actually channeling. And when they go into VOD reviewing, or when they go into sort of stat crunching, what do they actually derive from it, rather than a regular player saying, oh, they're going to play X, Y, Z, I just need to play good, right? So I always find it exciting in my perspective. I guess the one thing for me, if I'm looking at Direwolves, is don't let Dante have Ezreal again. He said it, 3 games in a row?
Yeah, fair.
It's dare time, Skimmy.
Is it?
Yeah, what do you want?
Oh, mate.
Earthbretho?
Here, mate.
Double Earthbretho?
Anything,
Not a
mate.
Mochar.
Triple Earthbretho.
Do you not have the Mochars?
Well, are you going to drink 750 mils?
I could chuck it right here.
All right.
I could chuck the whole thing.
Okay.
So what?
I don't think you should.
I
but
probably shouldn't.
It's there for you.
Might
Anyway,
be,
I've got good
Maybe
news.
on one hit.
You drink that, Skimmy. I'll have me 5 gum.
Might not be a good idea when I'm
because
casting.
Champ Selector's ready. Ladies and gents, I'll see you after the game.
Well, thank you very much there, Mac. I'll just keep shaking this one. We'll make sure that Twitch chat is happy that I'm not an absolute demon in my consumption of this iced coffee. Let's crack on with the draft thing. Kanga up against Direwolves. This time it should feel like a little bit more of a close affair, right? I feel like Direwolves were certainly in a hot surge of form. What do we expect to see in the pick and ban phase? Still, that Karma is denied. No surprise. I don't think Bulldog's really going to get there for the rest of the season.
That's a good question. I feel like Kanga have been drafting really well lately. If there was one big positive I would give for this squad, I do feel like in general their drafts have been solid for the past week, maybe 2. Direwolves on the other side are known for those more abstract picks. They've got a couple of pocket picks, right? They do make draft difficult. So it does raise the question of where this game will go. I do think that the Karma ban, specifically from Bulldog, is one of those interesting respect bans, because Lulu quite simply exists. Wukong being up is an obvious first pick. The response is pretty simple if you want from Direwolves. They like the Volley Bear, perhaps more than they like the Viego, but Zeri is up. Zeri Lulu, the easy response here, because those two seem to be a pairing for the entirety of today.
This has always been an interesting discussion for me, right? When Zeri and Wukong are both up and available, what is the better first pick option? I think from what we've seen, for the most part globally, Zeri has been preferred over Wukong. Do you think this is almost like a comfort thing or no special?
I mean, it feels like in the rest of the world, Viego does match Wukong fine, and comps do still work perfectly fine, but in OS, Wukong just seems to be supreme.
Sure.
Because he's a free engage angle, makes things so simple to execute, and simple execution in Oceania is overpowered. So they're going to get themselves the Wukong. Standard response here, the interesting part is going for the center and the Tahm Kench would be odd, because you can flex the center Wukong lane, or center with a flex champion lane, where if you just go center Tahm Kench, you've shown where everything's going.
Yeah.
Direwolves with no surprise in response, but Liv just straight up picks his joggers. Doesn't even care what his matchup is.
No.
Into Zorinus, who has a large champion pool of weirdness. Could be anything. Could pick a Teemo. I'd like to see you get your Cho'Gath passive off with last hits.
I would love to see
into
that.
a Teemo.
get angry trying to consume that one.
I do wonder what he'll play, however. Zoranus being on red side is one of the most dangerous things to verse when you're against the Direwolves, because the willingness, not just of him, but of the team to draft those different champions is quite high, where teams like Peace, who have the options of large champion pools for TN, don't always do it.
Yeah.
In saying that, we've still got things like Gangplank currently up and available. Makes you wonder if that's the matchup that Lived is just expecting.
That's what he played up against last time in his Cho'Gath game.
Right.
Exactly right. And he got 4-0. It was so strong as that Cho'Gath. Obviously, still a consideration, right, that we're you know, potentially crossing our fingers for. Could be the fasting center with a Wukong in the bot lane twice in the same day. Would be kind of crazy. But it does mean the Direwolves now have to consider what do they want to do to try and deny the impact that is Fido. Azir, Corki, Vega removed. What was his answer yesterday? He said, well, it's going to be Cassiopeia. Before that, we've had the Lissandra as well.
Okay, so it is just straight up going to be Nah because they see the Cho'Gath. Human getting the last pick here makes a lot of sense for me. It's always made the most sense. I do wonder if this Cho'Gath is flexible with mid, knowing that Human could pick in like an Akali. You just press W as Cho'Gath and you're fine.
Sure, yeah.
But it's most likely just going to be top lane now. They've seen the Nah. Mini Nah can be absolutely munched on. What do you pick blind here for mid? Maybe it is. Yeah, it is just going to be the Cho'Gath mid. I wonder if this is Kanga's prep. They've just said Cho'Gath mid just beats everything Human plays. It just doesn't matter. You can just pick the Cho'Gath. While it's flexible and Lived has revealed it, it's a draft strategy. They'll give themselves a Gangplank for top. Lived has played the GP, looks solid on the pick as well. He's actually been quite solid yesterday on the Swain.
Wait a minute.
And maybe it is center Cho'Gath as well. Who bloody knows?
Here we were, about to pat ourselves on the back and say, look, our pre-game was on point.
Could be anything.
They can't keep getting away with it. These assassins can't be allowed to perform this well. The Cassiopeia will come out back-to-back games in Super Week. We loved what we saw from him yesterday. The damage was there. The pop-off potential was there. It may just be a fasting center with any of these carries. Question now becomes, what does Human respond? Because he's going to have to say...
Orianna is like the least Human champion possible. However, it does feel like, you know, this many weeks into playing competitive, you would expect to see some adaptations from him, right? Some diversity to be seen from him in draft. And I like that strategically this is just a straightforward composition from Direwolves. Nah, Volley Bear work brilliantly with Orianna ultimate. Lulu keeps them there, right? If Volley jumps in, Lulu knocks them up. Orianna pulls them together and it's an easy clap. Team fight from the Direwolves. Literally clap as a Nah slaps them into a wall. For Kanga on the other side here, it's interesting because like the way that their draft panned out is it was Wukong, Senna, Cho'Gath. And in your mind, that could be a lot of different things. And I'm glad that what we've seen from Kanga on blue side is a high priority on flexible champions that are unique mostly to them. Because it makes drafting so difficult to verse. You don't actually know where they're going to go until the final draft is seen. And where we've ended up is Senna with a Cho'Gath that works brilliantly. I do think that Senna Cho'Gath is a perfectly serviceable lane. It works super well, to be honest. Cho'Gath has inbuilt sustain. Senna provides extra sustain. And they have ranged low cooldown damage, so they can honestly put in a lot of work, maybe get some 2v2s.
A lot of CCs. The main thing we're forgetting, right? The fact that you guarantee a Senna route into an Impale from the Cho'Gath, couple that with the Silence afterwards. There's a lot of time that a key or multiple members are locked in place, and should certainly make light work for him to then get those feast stacks up nice and quickly. And I think, for me, this really sums up Kanga quite nicely at the moment, right? That they have certainly showcased that we have a lot of scaling options. But as the weeks have gone by, we've got the diversity to say that, look, here's a Wukong. That could have been in the bot lane. It could be in the jungle. We're then considering, hey, is that a Cho'Gath in the mid lane? Yeah. Even we were juked.
Who knows where it goes anymore. But I will say, once again, the final composition of Kanga is fairly solid, right? The center of the Cho'Gath, it can work. The Cassiopeia mid is a Fido special. Foreigner got his Wukong and Lived got Gangplank. There's not much to fault for them in that respect. Their scaling is really nice in damage. They do have a slight preference towards Direwolves coming towards them, but this game does feel like it's just a battle on two different fronts with two team fighting teams.
Two team fighting teams looking to close out the week with a bang, as Direwolves will be looking for the perfect 2-0
just the days,
head-to-head.
Not the week. The super week.
What it is. I have been juked by my own volition. Well, let's crack on then and speak with Valexis, who is here to close out the day. Valexis, how have the boys been this week? How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Like we had I would say a low number of scrims coming into this week, which is a bit unlucky, but it is what it is. We've adapted and we're going to play our best league possible. So
certainly. Well, I mean, both teams have certainly shown that they can utilize a lot of these pocket picks. We've seen a lot of them even in this game here today. So was that a key focus, or did you think that was going to be playing a rather big factor in tonight's game?
Yeah, I guess like Fido just must have like a huge slong to just like blind pick Cassiopeia like that. So it is a unique pick for him, and he did just pull it out. So it was a consideration for sure, but we had counter picks ready, so we're fine.
I love the word choice there, mate. You just don't beat around the bush. Absolutely straight to the punch. Well, talk to me quickly about this game. Last time was a pretty stark contrast to really where Kanga have been, right? It was a very dominant performance from you. So is this almost looking like a bit of a grudge match now? Because, like, you know, in Split 1, we characterized this as the battle for that 5th and final playoff spot. Do you view it much the same this time?
Not really. Like, I just hope that it's just a good quality game of League of Legends so that Rossi doesn't lose his mind.
True.
That'd be good, man.
But yeah, it's just like straight up. But yeah, I just hope it's a good game of League. Like Kanga, I think, are coming into their own, which is good to see. Like, I just want the best League of OS possible. So if everyone can be great, like, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're happy, we're happy, the whole community's happy. Well, Alexis,
Amen.
Always a pleasure, mate, catching up with you. Wish you boys the best of luck, and we'll catch up next time.
Cheers. Have a good one.
He's preaching the correct information. So give me less than brownie points. It'll be hard to predict against Direwolves from now on. That's all I'm saying. He just pandered towards me quite nicely. But I agree. I mean, just good League of Legends from Oceania. That's what we all want to see. Quick check-in with the state of this game so far. We've seen nothing really to report in from junglers. It is just going to be a 5-camp clear potentially from the Wukong, maybe even a 4-camp clear, just single target camps on blue side. Back towards perhaps the Scuttle Crab. I'm interested to see where he paths, honestly, because he's got 30 seconds until Scuttles are up. He's threatening a dive top lane from the looks of it. Zonus is about to hit Mega, though, so perhaps just protecting. Lived with a ward as the wave crashes.
Looks to be all that was. He's going to poke his head in elsewhere now to see if he can try and keep tracks as to where Poltra may be. Even backing away from that one with a ward already in the area. Instantly crushing blow into Smite. Scuttle Crab, top side is theirs.
Yeah, of course we'll be able to go back towards Wolves, and then has Krugs off the reset if he wants to go Krugs into Raptors and be on the bottom side of the map. Depends how he wants to path and play. That would be, you know, like your fast clear level 6 then. Of course, very delayed because he spent time simply warding for his laners. But that is a lot of where his priority will be, right? As the Wukong in this game, while you are looking for chances to gank, perhaps you're also looking for keeping your laners alive. Because I would say, and this is a small point as Direwolves are hovering in the area, actually it's a 2v3.
Yeah, looking for this one. Both mid laners will start things off, and both junglers get inside the area, but Fido a little bit too protected underneath his own turret, so nothing will really take place. Poltron jumps in, and Foreigner is there just to ward them off.
Bulldog with a level 3 roamer's Lulu will completely neglect.
Have you seen my good lance?
My guy just roams perma. He will have a 3-0 ADC, and he will reset towards a top gank because he can. That is the way of the Bulldog. Ooh, leave no mana.
Dominus, if he can hit Mega here as well, he's absolutely primed and ready to go. Health advantage certainly in his favor.
Oh, God.
And we've just gone from top to bot, and both have won.
Top just straight up solo kills. Zonus just straight up solo kills Liv. Flash ready, but runs himself completely out of mana and just dies. No emphasis on the minion wave. It's going to force the teleport from this GP to get back to top. At least has decent farm. We'll see what happens bottom, because Poltron... Okay, just walks in. They just died 2v2 anyway. You hate to see it. Limas just falls down in a 2v2. It really feels like this game is just spontaneously combusted. Hey, credit to Direwolves, they find their angles. The fact that Bulldog was able to leave lane at level 3, come back bottom with the jungler, and bring him along for a kill. You can't ask for much more.
You really can't ask for much more, right? Especially when two lanes on opposite ends win at the very same time. Solo kills, really. Certainly the dream start here. And adds another spanner in the works for is a very exciting combination of this Senna and Cho'Gath. No doubt still a lot of potential for them to shine. Definitely not the start they were after. Let's see if they can get the jump this time, though.
And good deep vision here from Kanga will spot Foreigner as he goes towards Raptors and pathing towards the bottom side of the map. Direwolves On the defensive down here in bottom lane, as far as the wave state is concerned, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Cho'Gath in the center constantly pushing. Cho'Gath likes to last hit to keep his mana and health as high as possible, and Dante is absolutely copping it.
Oh, so with Liv right now, topside. Boulder misses. Cannon Barrage is leapt out of. But they're both having a crack with ultimates available.
Yeah, the fact that it was just an ultimate trade, though, I would say is incredibly favorable, one for the Gnar, because the global ultimate utility of a Gangplank is now completely gone. And Gnar ultimate is a fairly low cooldown. You will see Toppin use this at level 6 just to push waves in to crash it in. However, keep in mind at this point, a freshly mini Gnar takes a lot of damage from a Sheen purchase on a Gangplank. The 700 gold power spike, I think realistically in top lane is unmatched by most other champions in League of Legends. So he's a powerhouse that'll have to be respected and is currently being respected by the hands of Poltron up in the area, as Poltron disrespects his own top laner and secures that ward himself instead of sharing the money. Poltron the coach. Poltron the greedy guts coach, huh?
So that's mine. It looked like for a second he even was going to give that across to Zoranis, but nope, not the case.
False hope to the players. Next week he'll bench him just to assert alpha male status.
Alexis comes in, Zoranis is doing the coach interview.
Yeah. So why did you draft your top laner Yuumi in this game? I don't know, sub me out, bro. Like, screw that guy.
Player agency gone wild. Excited to see this Cassiopeia again, right? He would be our only Cassiopeia play at the moment.
So just quick check-in with the ultimate cooldowns as well. For reference of everyone at home, Zoranis has Mega Gnar already lived his halfway on cooldowns. That's one of the reasons that an ult transaction there is incredibly valuable, not even considering the global advantage. Dante could get killed here.
But he could do. He's in a lot of trouble right now. The Ignites is not there, but it doesn't really matter because he's just been taken down anyway. He's just fallen to the feast of a Cho'Gath.
Limass is recalling. CNC just sees an angle, locks him down. Unsealed Spellbook Cho'Gath has Ignite at level 6 as well. Poltron looking and fighting. Oh my god, that is depression.
A cheeky little steal like that. He's just walked in against 3 members of Kanga. Said, how do you do?
No, but Fido altered the blue buff and ran out of mana. And Poltron just walks in, smites it, and walks away. You'd be pissed. Fido's got to be actually mad.
That's an understatement.
I have a very large Cho'Gath though.
A Cassiopeia without blue buff though, that really does suck.
It stings. It stings. Human not having the blue buff himself is something that's not going to feel great. However, with the tier start for both of them, they want to cycle their abilities as much as possible and as fast as possible. And you can see Kanga now playing towards the enemy blue buff. It's a clear priority for them.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be, right? Lost Chapter's just not going to be enough sustain to try and allow this Cassiopeia to really run rampant in this laning phase. It's going to work out for them, right? They group up as a unit and say, we will take this.
Dante actually almost goes into the jaws of the beast there, but consider the Direwolves who just spent all of this time pathing towards the blue to try and contest it, to be late to that contest. That Human has now spent all of this time walking on vision with limited mana instead of clearing mid. So instead of playing for like a gold transaction on the map, if Kanga are going to expend 30 seconds of their time as 3 members strong to take a blue buff, you could get 2 waves. 2 waves or a crashed wave in mid and a wave denied is still worth more money overall for you. But they waste, again, the exact same amount of time to make that happen. It means that Fido is going to get there.
There's the combo that time, but that's the beauty of Zeri's kit, isn't it? Just to dash across the wall and completely prevent anything happening.
The crazy thing about that combo, though, Skimmy, is now that the Everfrost has been rushed incredibly early by TNC, they're a real kill threat if that wall isn't there. Single mistake probably gets Dante murdered.
Like 4 seconds of just hard CC, no doubt. It'd be very annoying to try and juggle with. The bush control for me is the biggest part, right? That if you stand and staunch them out like they have done countless times, the low range of a Zeri and a Lulu can do nothing but just try and burst fire or Glare Lance into the bush and hope for the best.
And they're terrified. Poltron playing towards topside. Hunting for lived means that the bottom lane of Dante and Bulldog just have to sit back and respect. We're not seeing any Lulu roams like we did at level 3. Feels like that kill that they received as well into the hands of Dante has resulted in actually nothing for them in the way of lane control. It's amazing what people can do when they don't just pick Tahm Kench with Senna. Isn't it crazy, the creative freedom that exists there and how you can play out matchups?
Oh no, Liv stepped up a little too far. Poltron thought, I have to go back to base. Cannon Barrage goes on out, but there's no backup. Well, there is now from Kanga. They're biding their time. They're running straight into the river. That was a Dawning Shadow from the bottom side from Lemus there. Fido jumps in with a Petrifying Gaze, but they won't be locked up. But Fido will certainly guarantee it. He knocked up every single member, and they'll just find one.
Shockwave not going to be there from now on for Human. A real tragedy in terms of skirmish outcomes for Direwolves. Kanga will be really happy with that one. And engage on the Lived. He buys enough time, creates enough space. The Gnar ultimate just never got used. Just never got used. And Zoran has lived his life inside the Gangplank Cannon Barrage. That put in so much damage.
Certainly did. Far too much damage. Maybe Poltron will be kicking himself that he didn't go back to base after all. Lived, postured aggressively, thought there was an angle, saw it.
Bot reset as well here with a wave crashing of like 8 minions and no mythic to be purchased by Dante. So stays behind. Kanga legit putting in so much work early game here.
That's such a huge turnaround after the solo kill top and the 2v2 bot. That you're thinking the dream start for Direwolves, but from the scoreboard, it's not lying.
No, it's not. Human for us as well as viewers very much out of his comfort zone, it feels like, with the choice of the Orianna. I'm not sure exactly how many games he's got on this pick, but it isn't a 3-0 Akali or Sylas that we're used to seeing from him at this point, so it's clear the impact isn't the same yet. But there is a Rift Herald to be summoned. Poltron is going to summon that as a teleport comes through from TNC. Volibear with the ult can disable the turret, but it doesn't feel like they want anything other than just the charge. And they will get that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Cho'Gath gets extra stacks on his ultimate as an epic monster the Herald counts as. So it is odd that he didn't use it there. I'm pretty sure in the same way that ulting a Drake counts. I'm pretty sure. Do I sound sure? I don't.
I don't know. I haven't played enough games as Cho'Gath.
I forget with that specific interaction.
Either way, they certainly made light work of that minion wave. So there was no force or hard commit.
Lulu does make it very hard for a Rupture to hit, but Lemas is able to actually just staunch in the front. This is the center dream as far as matchups are concerned. You can play in front of your ally in terms of positioning. Like the standard positioning for an AD and support is usually side by side, unless you're an enchanter like the Lulu who just wants to protect. Because if you're side by side, you're actually presenting yourself as a target. So Lulu will sit back, which means that Senna gets to stand forwards, and Senna wins those trades because she gets permanent souls while equalizing the damage with a heal. Ideally, you actually want the Lulu to be side by side with the Zeri to threaten extra damage on top of the Senna. That's the way that you'd stop her, but Cho'Gath, too strong.
Certainly is. Little dance you can do in the bot lane. As they tandem back and forth 2v2, picking their angles. But ultimately, Kanga have a lot more kill pressure, even more, when the Wukong rocks up like this, and that may just guarantee that despite them not having the Herald, that this turret is going to go on down. At least it's going to force back Direwolves as well.
And the blue buff, so it's actually coast-to-coast transition here from Fido and Foreigner, picking up both blue buffs and stopping Human from having it. Every time you look at mids, Human has no mana. There's a tier Orianna, permanently out of mana. Still scales nicely into the game, but is now going to be 20 CS down and absolutely zero to provide to the map right now. No teleport. No ability to actually stay and fight, and Poltron going to hit this Herald. I feel like if Kanga forced the contest knowing that there's no mana there for Human, this can absolutely be winning.
And this was a little bit like awkward timing right now. Bulldog preemptive flash away, cops the wild growth on his head. Now the fight's gone. You have to disengage away as Bulldog, surely.
Zoran is close to Mega though, so can absolutely be brought into the fight. Gangplank's usefulness is going to be the ultimate, if not getting here after the wave, but it feels like the window of opportunity has disappeared.
Yeah, Seaman had no TP. He had to run all the way back from base, and without those crucial ultimates, just did not feel like it was the play. Poltron, no smite. This is going to turn his attention down towards Drake. But you'd imagine, based on how Kanga are posturing, they're still game. I mean, Fido's got flash ult.
I thought that was a ghost just used by TNC. Wants to get into the mix here, 100%, but Human, fresh to fight.
Poltron jumps in, gonna lock them down, and just evaporated, just absolutely destroyed. Cassiopeia ultimate is still there. Cannon Barrage on top of their head. From top to bot, Kanga go. They claim everything the map has to offer. Fido flashing in, but no, destroyed by Zeri. Dante's been silenced and he's been taken down. Is the price right? Who knows? Because Bulldog is running, but he's just going to get absolutely smashed by the double buff center.
Limas way too strong at the moment, absolutely stacked out of his mind. Zoranus and Liv not getting into the fight, not getting involved themselves, both going back towards top lane. It was a messy skirmish to say the least. Dial's fighting on two different fronts. Human's going to hit a good ult, and it is going to be onto Fido, and they're going to kind of effectively push him out of the fight from this point onwards. But it's just Dante and Bulldog with no tank to stand in front. That is the difficulty here that they're dealing with. And while Fido doesn't actually get the stuns off, the center W will connect. Human flashes forwards to make sure it's a trade, but Limas is just sitting here, happy as can be with a red buff to slow them down while he chases them with the fleet footwork of his own. That is a large center.
And surely now there's a conversation that can be had about itemization, right? Fido and TNC, both with the Everfrost. We saw the amount of CC that's going to cause Dante's life to become a living misery. He has no cleanse. Surely this is Mikhail's Crucible Rush.
I mean, if you want to go one step further, Anathema's Chains has been completed as well by TNC onto Dante. This area is going to be absolutely sad. It's not a good game to be dealing with a Cho'Gath in your face. And it is actually a complete extra item right now in favor of the Cassio, but that's Boots' advantage.
Sure.
Does mean is lacking in a bit of flat magic pen. Also means you can't afford to go Merc Treads, which is one of the downfalls of the blind Cassiopeia, right? The inability to go for Merc Treads. Luckily for Cass, she gets to go into the Precision Tree and can have Legend Tenacity.
And Kanga can have another turret. That's the second of the game, as they will claim that Herald moments prior and use it to great effect. They're find themselves in a rather comfortable spot now, trying to bridge that gap from what was a 2k lead now to becoming 3. Top of the table is that Cassiopeia. Bit and out of control, and does justify that item advantage that you just mentioned.
I mean, I think the interesting thing about this game is it's not a large enough lead to be super concerned. Voltron just dukes out that control ward, and poor Limas not going to get it even with the Umbral Glaive. I don't think that, 3,000 gold's not game winning, it's not game defining. There is absolutely angles for Dials to stay in this game. We mentioned their composition, however, and note that it is mostly team fight based. So the fact that Kanga have got the first 2 Drakes of the game just creates so much space for them to succeed, right? They're able to keep the Gangplank planted in a side lane, have the Cassiopeia be protected by the rest of the team. That's time for the center to continue to get more stacks, already at 80 stacks at 18 minutes, ready to continue to ramp up. And doesn't mean they have to take bad fights. It is Dials that have to take bad fights if the Drake, the next one in 1 minute and 45 is secured by Kanga, because then the clock is on for pressure.
And the pressure certainly is on when it comes to looking at this map right now. Bot completely pressed out. No turret existing there. Same for mid, hence why Kanga are pressing that one as well. Top lane, certainly a point of contention, as they look like they're having a bit of a trade right now. Fairly low on their health bars, down to 50% either or. But the most impressive thing for me is the fact that Fido lost his own blue buff from the tragedy that occurred where Poltron just swung on through, but then on cooldown, straight into the enemy. Seaman has never seen one.
Yes, Human hasn't touched a blue buff.
Again.
There's the third back-to-back consecutive blues that have been taken away, as well as their own being secured. Zero emphasis here from Dial is being placed towards those, and it is one of those, standardized strategies, you would say, on, invade timers. Does make sense that, a Nivea Cassiopeia as champions, one emphasis to be put towards that. Ultra not caring as much. And Ori's still fine, right? You get 1 item, you get to 2 items, you'll be alright with the total mana pool that you've got there. More than enough to persevere and clear waves with plenty in the tank. But so far, you can't help but feel like Kanga have had control of the map, except for those solo deaths that happened. This is starting to feel like signature Direwolves. Drake number 3 is up in 15 seconds, and they're pulling the gauntlet. They're saying this is the play, the gambit's thrown. Human bottom has got teleport center actually going to reveal them, Skimmy, and that's it.
Yeah, much like a true shot barrage, they knew that something was a little bit fishy. Where are they on the map? That's the only place they had no vision. That may have been their only play, and they were right on that assumption. Kanga continue to press forward, claiming the third Drake in isolation thanks to Foreigner, pressing out another wave in mid lane thanks to Fido, and continuing to hold the gold lead here.
Ward inside the Baron Pit as well is going to make sure it's not going to be something that Dials immediately go back to. Drake secured another stack for the Cho'Gath. That is a happy man. Probably has a fair chunk of money to go back for as well.
The Cho'Gath?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like he's been on those items for 5 minutes.
Does feel like we began the conversation there about the Anathemus chains.
Yeah.
7 stacks off the feast, so he's certainly getting large.
I mean, the interesting thing about this game, and this comes back to just a big general point about Oceania. I know Shock was talking about this on the match fix, was that ease of execution is important, right? And Dials have made their composition so simple to execute, so even from a deficit, the way that they play back into the game, the way they get back into winning this game is super simple. Volleybag goes in, Na goes in, Orianna follows up, Lulu follows up. It's just that simple. Find an angle, and then you've got an angle to actually just win the game. That's all it comes down to, where I feel like Kanga on the other side, there's a bit more complexity to it. Wukong can go forwards, absolutely. Cho'Gath can also. But at the same time, while Cassiopeia can chase, she excels at when people come towards her for the big ults. Otherwise, you're really flash reliant.
Flash ult.
You have to kind of flash forwards. Lived is the same, right? Like you want people to come towards you, but their carry is a Senna who isn't farming, and it is a lethality Senna at that. So decent damage output, yes, but it's not a Jinx. You know, it's not a Cogmore. It's not a reason for Dials to come towards you. And quite simply, one Shockwave could wipe Limas off the face of the earth because it is a very fragile champion.
Certainly a very fragile champion. I think last we checked in, he had about 100 stacks, so he's certainly up there. Well on course to be the fasting center with the damage and that vision control, running the Umbral Glaive. Vision control, no doubt, is going to be of paramount importance here because 3 minutes and Kanga get to play for a Hex Tech Soul. Baron is still taunting them.
A summoner has disconnected.
And we've got a pause. So, quick reflection so far in this game. There's one. Limas 1080p. That maybe just be the buff.
Can actually see his reflection. Big buff. I would say Limas has been a very solid performer for them as well, all things considered. Kanga have improved so much through their jungle yesterday. Massive plays from Foreigner in general. Fido's just been a more solid part of the roster, and that's the interesting part here about, I feel like Kanga as a whole, is it felt like we were always just saying Fido is the only solution. Liv gets ganked, or Liv definitely has some moments of struggles. His laning phase hasn't been nearly as strong in the first 15 minutes as he has been in the past. And Fido was really that fighting force that gave them something extra. But yesterday it was jungle. Today it's been bot lane. They've had so much more of the team, and having that freedom for both Liv and Fido has really opened the gates up to them being a genuine threat of a team.
And it's been such a beautiful evolution, right? Realizing what we heard a lot from their interviews, not only from the coaching staff, but from the players themselves, right? Because a lot of Split 1 was Liv versus the world. Coming into Split 2, especially once Fido made his name known, it was then Fido versus the world, alleviating a lot of the pressure off his top laner. But it is great to see in, as you say, back-to-back games, different members rising up, taking on responsibility, and showcasing their individual strength. A big reason why they're here at this level. Question now becomes, though, can they close it out? Can they bring this head-to-head to a third game?
Can they convert this lead into something more meaningful for the game, right? You've got a Drake to play for in 2 minutes, absolutely, that you could consider that a win condition. The Dials, I don't think, are incredibly hard-pressed by the state of the map right now. They're afraid of Kanga, yes, because a Cho'Gath knockup could result in a death for sure. But they're also pretty comfortable just trying to hit those 2-item, 3-item breakpoints for all of their players. It is interesting, actually, that Human completed his tier item. I would argue it's interesting that anyone completes a tier item.
Not a fan?
I just feel like finishing another item is more valuable. As 4 blues back-to-back have been stolen away from Human. This time it's going to be in the hands of Foreigner, Fido with a blue of his own. I mean, okay, so the question is, what is your next item going to be, right? If they build magic resistance, you have to go Force of nature, so you're not going to have a Shadow Flame. You're not going to have any flat magic penetration items. You go Void Staff, you're not going to have the Death Cap path there for you because you've spent, 3,000 gold on completing the Seraph. So what does it provide you? Little bit of extra damage based off your mana pool and a little bit of healing based off spells being used. I don't think that's significant enough to warrant a full completion over another like Shadow Flame.
Nowhere near as strong as its
Or-
80 counterpart in the Mirror
Or
Mana, right?
Horizon Focus item.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mirror Mana is just
just
insane.
crazy in comparison, right?
Because it's bonus damage as well as bonus damage on abilities. Kanga hitting the Baron here as well as going for the top inner turret at the same time. Direwolves can check every bush with a Volley Bear E.
It's the dream, though, for a Kanga setup, right? That you face check into a Cho'Gath and into a Cassiopeia as well.
Direwolves don't actually care to check. Straight towards mid to pressure it. Dante can get over walls perfectly fine. Drake is up in 15 seconds, which is why Kanga were trying to perhaps go for the Baron. They don't need to do Drake. They want to bring Direwolves towards them. They want that angle. Direwolves not presenting it.
They certainly aren't. Foreigner jumping in aggressively. Dante forced to dart across that wall. Nice to know that's a big cooldown burnt, but he can bring it back rather easily with just a few crucial auto attacks. Now Zoranus flirting with danger on the side. Center route does not connect, but he's close to Mega, and he has flash as well, Rusty.
He's actually hovering perfectly at 1 tick away from Mega Gnar. A little bit of damage application to or from him, and he'll tick over. Shockwave in.
Dragon has been engaged upon. Zoranus looking for it now. That Mega Bar is starting to simmer down. He just wants to taunt them, get a few cheeky auto attacks off. Kanga don't want to commit to this one. They let Direwolves pick that one up for free. Now they pull the trigger. They hit the Shureliers. He jumps forward inside Mega, hits the boulder onto Liv to try and slow him down, but either team really unwilling to commit to anything.
Completely split from his team there as well, so it seems like Kanga showing absolutely zero signs to want to fight there. Still just desperately trying to bring Direwolves towards them. They will teleport in. Poltron will check bushes by using his East. Human can also do the same thing with the ball.
It goes down so quick.
They'll get to the pit. They see the health right now.
It's so gone. He has to jump in. It's a little bit too late as he jumps across the wall. It's a smite, it's a feast, it's a guaranteed Baron. Kanga have it, and now they're going to try and win their team fight afterwards. Lemus on the flank, being ever so annoying. The root connects with the Bulldog, self-casting ult, but they're kiting back. Dante jumping in, 1v9. He's going for more. He's found two. He's locked down Liv, and there's the double kill. Flashing forward onto TNC with the ultimate ramped up and ready to go. He dodges over one wall, but he can't dodge over a second. A moment of magic from the star 17-year-old.
I mean, Dante going crazy for sure. Direwolves, however, losing out on the Baron buff. Still going to be left reeling as they limp back home. Poltron gets over the wall, ultimately instantly dies. It's impossible to contend with the timing there from Kanga. Full credit to them. Fight will break out. Oriana no Shockwave, however, and Zoranus not Mega at the start. He wants out, so he dashes out. A Mega Gnar forwards here could have perhaps worked nicely with Dante. And dashing forwards over the Rupture gets straight into the face of Liv. No fear whatsoever. Flashes forwards and doesn't continue to kite forwards. Tries to perhaps use the wall as a way to kite, but TNC has flash, so he's going to be able to get himself out pretty well. All things considered, I think Kanga are happy with that trade, but still, we're seeing the hero moments here. Excuse me.
Certainly are. Hero moments is what Direwolves going to need to try and contest this one. Because yes, you've taken away two of those crucial Baron buffs, but ultimately Kanga still did get it, and they still have the ability to press forward and crush more turrets. They've taken 4 so far, double the amount of Direwolves have been able to achieve in this game. But still that gold lead, it's looking a little bit shaky, right? Still not enough to feel as if this is a sure thing for Kanga.
I think his chain's also completed by Poltron here on the other side for Direwolves. I wonder who that's gone on to. I know it's not the center. Could well be the Cassiopeia. I feel like that's the one that makes the most sense. Increases CC duration against someone that can't build Merc Fred. Imagine how sad you'd be.
No tenacity, no fun.
Literally no fun.
Maybe that makes it a little bit better. Rabbit Onzers has been complete. Donius is already there.
It doesn't save the stun duration,
No,
but it
well,
does feel nice.
you
can wear a witch's hat and get stunned for longer with your cool hat on. You can do that.
You're a wizard, Fido.
Yeah. You're a stun-locked wizard.
Honestly, by this point in the game, these mages really are going to be packing a punch. We've yet to see that decisive, huge shockwave that we know in Oriana in the later stages can also look to try and provide.
Also, Limas, who has the advantage of range, doesn't have that advantage against someone like Zeri and Lulu if they're together, because the movement speed is just so devastating. And they touch you once, they chase you down. So he's getting those stacks, 120. Absolutely insane amount of stacks to be sure. But still has to position accordingly. Mind you, I think with all of the items we're starting to see completed here, Kanga really starting to ramp up in this game to be out of control. Particularly mid.
Absolutely in mid. But not to be outdone by the GP as well. Collector and Lord Dominix is there. Those kegs are going to really start to add up as well. Their wave clear is absolutely phenomenal, but they're shut down in one crucial spot. Uncontested.
This is an interesting point in the game, though, for Direwolves. I would say the pressure is well and truly on them, not just because of Dante here, not just because the Drake is up in 50 seconds, but because they have no teleport on their mid laner, and Human is sitting in a side lane. To get access to this pit, to acknowledge that you're against what is a Cho'Gath and a Smite. I mean, Direwolves have to make the proactive play. They have to be first to move. They have to find the target before the Drake is low. Or they just lose a soul.
Suman's gone back to base. He shopped up one more time. 2 components complete there for that Rabadons. Can't be too far away from it, but he's come back full HP and full mana. Everybody groups up in mid.
20 seconds, 15 seconds now until the Drake spawns. If Kanga just keep them busy here, then they get to disengage to the Drake for free. Dante actually dashes the wall, ice skates into a Cho'Gath knockup. All pressure on the Direwolves.
That certainly is. Kanga inline track straight inside the river. Vision denied and vision in their favor. On towards that Drake. Initia's gone. Absolutely destroyed. Direwolves, will they sniff at any opportunity to try and make something happen? Foreigner's gone into a clone form and jumped straight on forward. Fido with the petrifying gaze isolates out Zeri and gets that shutdown. Bulldog burned everything he could to protect his AD carry, but it just wasn't enough.
Shockwave.
Shockwave is massive! And finally we get to see the Orianna put in some hard yards 32 minutes in.
And that's prior to the death cap as well. It's certainly possible for them, but Dial was just too pressured. Just kept at bay and just held an arm's length away. Kanga will secure themselves the solo, go straight back to mid lane with the kills that they picked up as well. And that will be an inhibitor here. 100% the fall if Kanga commit themselves to it. Bot lane fighting.
Fight in the bot lane. Look at this one. Fido, no summoners, no ultimate. Oh my god! Zornis pixel away from hitting Mega, and he just dies in the animation. Absolute tragedy. The fight continues, as you rightly point out. We're not done yet. Direwolves are trying to fight as they disengage away from that stolen inhibitor.
I feel like Human with ult there might have been able to throw that one onto TNC. Had a potential kill threat to be found, but Poltron falls as well as Zoranus. And Kanga just continuing to stack up, continuing to scale. Bot lane, Cho'Gath, Senna, both stacked champions, both had a free reign of laning phase. Now both almost completely unstoppable. And the flash from Zoranus in that 1v1 was so sad. Was just waiting for a Q to come out from Fido and never found one that he'd be happy with. But here we are, no jungler alive from Direwolves, no real way to stop this Baron from falling down, and it is not just a Hextech Soul anymore.
It certainly isn't. That is gone at an alarmingly quick rate. So much damage for them to shred that Baron Nashor down.
No way Livs gets one shot here. In fact, I would say Human staying in this bush is inting.
Certainly is. This feels way too overextended right now. Oh no. Oh. The Blast Cone grief.
He's alright. It hurts. Almost need a Shockwave to start the fight at this point. Poltron no health. Shockwave does no damage though.
Yeah, it's already been consumed. Not what you want to see, but for Kanga, pure jubilation. They are in absolute wonderland right now. Another Baron, another inhibitor. They get to disengage away for free and continue to take literally everything the map has to offer.
Yeah, they're going to pick the map apart piece by piece. It makes sense. They don't want to pressure and do anything silly. Shockwave cooldown is fairly low, and Dante didn't use his ultimate. They're afraid of Dante for sure. 4 items rather done for the Zeri with the Lulu to protect. 1.5 items only for the Lulu, but really the 1 item she needs in that Shurelya's. Dales will pick themselves up the mid lane outer turret. But what else can they even really do now that the reset with Baron buff is there? He's got it.
He's done it.
He's done it.
Hallelujah. 35 minutes in, and the Orianna has a blue buff. You love to see it.
Of course, blue buff less and less relevant as time passes, but hey, you got one.
It's a mental victory, Rusty, and that's all that matters. They'll need a few more of those mental victories, right, to weather the storm that is this onslaught of damage and pressure that Kanga continue to deliver forwards.
Well, they realistically need a Zeri team fight where Zeri doesn't get instantly crowd controlled. If you can ice skate around the fight, I think Dante is the angle.
Well, let's see if he can deliver it in that last fight. Fighter managed to isolate him out in a 1v1 and tore him apart. That's another turret gone. We're marching towards that third and that final inhibitor. The supers are flooding into the base now as they get closer and closer through that mid and top wave.
They've stacked up the Mega Gnar for Zoranus right now, so the window is open. But the angle isn't there. Orianna's going to go towards top right now. Has got teleport so can join the fight, but it's very awkward. They'll have to let this Mega Gnar dissipate, and I feel like Kanga can just continue to be aggressive here, considering Zoranus can't provide anything for the fight. But they're just going to back away. Presumably after their reset, they made a little bit of extra money. That could be a full Infinity Edge for Liv. Definitely worth resetting for that.
Certainly is. Picked up, ready to go. Gearing up for that final team fight to end the game on Kanga's terms. But it's not to say that it is still a Kanga victory. We have seen a situation already tonight where 3 inhibs have been taken down and a valiant defense has resulted in the opposition clawing it back from the clutch of defeat. Baron is about to expire. Elder up in a minute.
The only person without a flash up in the game right now is Zoranus, someone who absolutely wants that for the team fights. If you were Direwolves, you'd be happy to wait for that. But to actually gain purchase, right, to get access into the river, near impossible. And these flows that come through from the Hextech stole off minions, just crippling. Opportunities for Cho'Gath to hit that knock-up become so prevalent.
Mid inhibitor back up in 15 seconds. Another few minutes if you're looking at top and bot as well. Kanga swarming the base, really preventing the Direwolves from ever leaving it. Bulldog, Coptic Kerrigan is certainly feeling worse for wear.
Yeah, he's not happy about that one. 20 seconds till Elder has to walk back to base. It basically means the Elder Dragon is gone here, Skimmy. That's a risk that I don't think Direwolves would be willing to take. But Poltron to walk in is just going to die. There's no way. He has no priority in his lanes. To walk through the jungle is the least safe space possible. And they have human top right now instead of helping them get here. So they just have to concede the Elder. And I don't think you can ever fight Kanga if they have an Elder buff.
You certainly cannot. It's suffocating for Direwolves right now. Kanga have played this one absolutely well. Flawlessly, beautifully, for lack of a better term, because they've claimed every objective the game has had to offer. They've utilized the strength and a smite and a feast. They've controlled the amount of CC they have, that lane control, vision control. Direwolves never had an in.
Direwolves now postured for a fight. They've given the Elder Dragon away. Didn't get much of a choice on it. Ball goes on top of Poltron, but he's been spotted by a blue trinket. Kanga not willing to make mistakes. Zoranus not Mega Gnar. The window's gone.
Mid and Hibs back up, but not for much longer. As it rises, it falls on down, all the same. Can Kanga end now? That is the question, right? You've got a couple more waves to play around with from every single angle on the map.
Knock-up hits onto Dante, but he's going to dash his way out of the Everfrost. Shockwave primed and poised to hit here.
Low and steady.
Coming out, but the ball is still postured so well.
Looking for it.
Gauge on.
Flash on. Yes, instantly. Polymorph on towards Foreigner. Getting as close as they can to the execute range with the Elder. Turning attention on towards Zoranus right now, who flings 2 members inside the enemy base. Lifting whatever he can to try and hit them all clumped up together with those kegs. Zoranus close to falling on down. The rupture onto Dante in the backline. He's in the lightning form. He's trying to do whatever he can to try and clutch out this situation. He's low on mana, but Kanga don't care. They're on towards the base, and they win at 39 minutes.
Very solid win from Kanga, all things considered. There wasn't really a moment where it felt like they were at threat of losing this game. It was slow. It was extremely slow. But it was methodical, and they get the dub that they're after. That is 2-0 so far in the week for Kanga, and you cannot complain with this turnaround on weeks. unexpected to say the least, but very impressive.
Very impressive. It was certainly a very low kill game. I think we had, what, only 6 kills apiece, 25 minutes in. It was certainly one much more about the elegance of the objective control and the macro and what they all had to entail.
I don't think anything that happens in the Rift like matters that much. It's literally just our predictions today.
Yeah,
you know,
got
we
it.
all
Yeah,
had
true.
our own moments.
True,
Skimmy,
it's
I
true.
feel like, look, you got your Chiefs one correct.
Banger.
Did you get it? Is that all you got today?
Banger.
I think it was. Well, he's gone. Look, that game though, well played from Kanga. You know,
Yeah.
like Direwolves did some okay stuff early game. 175 center stacks is a new LCO record. So that's big from Lemus. Man was all over the place, stacking up a storm, but also relatively long game.
That's the 220 center narrative that you set up
He
just
did?
2 games later.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, wrong team, but
True.
at the same time, worked well. The Cho'Gath, which was discussed for pretty much every position and ended up in support anyway, worked super well. You know,
Yeah.
just having that ultimate as well and allowed the objective control to be king. So many Drakes taken to the point where, you know, even at the Herald fights, he was there every time. He was just always in the right place. You can see Hayden as a whole has just been improving a lot over the week since they last went up against Direwolves here. And now we got a 1-1 scoreline between these two teams, Rusty.
And it feels like it's a confidence thing for TNC more than anything else. He was very nervous, noticeably nervous on his first day in his debut game, but started to come around to it and has looked like a completely different player as he's adapted and kind of gotten his grounding in the league. And I feel like that's true for a lot of Kanga here, all things considered.
Yeah.
Very much improved performances from them. This was a very close 1v1. And Direwolves, it feels like to be perfectly honest, Bulldog on Lulu isn't the roaming ganking support that feels natural to him.
Yeah.
Suman on Orianna doesn't feel like the assassin high damage early game impactful champion that feels natural to him as well. And that's a big part of the team, right? Like a lot of their core identity for finding engages, for finding team fights, felt like it was different. They had an Orianna flanking. They had a flank Orianna. If that was an Akali, it would make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. You've taken the champion away from the player, but you haven't taken the play style out of him.
Well, let's have a look at all the stats at the end of that one. Not even 10k in it. So Direwolves, they were there, they were fighting, they were just trying to allow Dante to scale as much as possible to try to get back into the game. But again, he just got caught out a few times. The CC was king, and there was a lot of CC for Kanga as well. So just a horrible comp to run into for Direwolves. Look, they had a decent amount of CC themselves, but just the damage, it just unfortunately got caught out every single time. You know, there was that angle we saw. I thought Dante was going to save the day when I think it was like a
The Baron.
1v4, 1v9 angle. Almost got himself a quad, but just couldn't quite finish up. So that was a little unfortunate there for Direwolves. But you have a look at the graph, it was just slowly and steadily stonking straight towards Kanga the whole game.
Yeah, stonks were rising. Kanga played well. Wasn't even, like on Kanga's side, wasn't even high damage. It was real chill.
Yeah.
They just kind of did what was needed and they found the dub from it.
Pretty
No
much,
crazy 30k damages. But look, I do have a big man that I swear has to be the happiest man from Kanga with a performance like that. Some big individual efforts. We have Fido on the line to have a chat to. Fido, how you feeling? 2 wins already this week. Perfect. You set up.
Yeah, very good. Fantastic. The win streak starts here and only gets better as well, versing the Gravitas Mammoth next. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, very good indeed. Now, talk to me about that blue buff control. That was really cutting Seaman off. The man had no mana, like all game to do anything.
Well, I mean, I'm just getting PTSD this game as well. My jungler's like, I want to take blue buff for my level 8. I'm like, no, you're not taking blue buff. And then the enemy jungler takes my blue buff as well. And it's just, from that tally game, it just gives me, I'm very scared about my blue buffs now.
Yeah, so just blue buff kingdom, just full focus on him the whole damn game. Beautiful. You had to take their blue buff as well to make sure you and Foreigner both actually had the blue buff, right? Like, I love the handshake there. Now, talk to me about this one. Going into it, the comp, when you initially picked Cho, was it always going to be in support? Because there was a discussion of, was it mid? Was it top? You know, could it even have been in jungle? But it ended up, you know, supporting bot lane.
Oh, I don't play Cho'Gath mid, but it can definitely be a flex top. So yeah, it's a flex, I guess.
All right, cool. So it's not in your champ pool yet. Now, back-to-back Cass games. I'm really enjoying that one. Now, talk to me about not having boots. Are you getting a little bit scared when you look at all that CC that was drafted there by Direwolves. Were you worried you were going to get locked in place a little more than what you ended up being?
Not really, because I think the biggest change now with Limus is I'm calling most of the time for Kanga, and also other people are talking a lot more. Whereas before it was kind of just Lionel, Matthew calling, like, and nobody else was really saying anything. So when you call, like, you can play any champ and you can just tell your team like how you want to play the game. So yeah, it's pretty easy to play when you're calling, I think.
There you go. So change in leadership has led to 2 dubs already. So big congrats. I'll let you go enjoy the glory and get ready for the big game tomorrow.
Thank you, Mac.
No worries. Son, king, friend,
Son,
Fido.
you've adopted him.
Hey, I'm old now. I can call everyone Sonny. Hey, Sonny, don't you talk
Sonny
to me
Bill
like
Gem.
that. Now look,
You cannot.
what? Dare MVP discussion.
He's like the oldest player in the league.
Hey,
Wait, am I your son? Because same hair.
no leaks on broadcast, Skimmy. Okay, no leaks. We need
So
to
you don't
talk
want me
about.
to call you? You don't want me to call you?
This is before and after gym between you two.
True, yeah. Young, athletic,
Before 5 gum.
not in the gym. Ripped.
Dare MVP.
It just wants to
I'm trying to move the subject forward.
I'm not gonna
as
say it, eh?
Skimmy's off the leash.
I'm not going to say it.
You better not say it.
What?
Limas is the Dare MVP.
Oh, we're talking about
Yes,
MVPs.
yeah.
Yes, of course we're
That's
talking
what
about
I'm talking
MVPs.
about.
Yes.
Limas is the
Has to be
Dare
Limas.
MVP.
Limas is the Dare MVP.
1080p Limas.
Best
Limas is your Dare
performance
MVP.
so far, I'd have to say. Right up in it. 91% KP all over the damn thing. Fasting center initially into just getting a whole bunch of kills and being a nuisance. You know, had that red buff, slowed people down, followed him around, and bloody just worked up a storm, didn't he? Big performance.
Weapons out and the nose wipe anime pose.
I'm just
He's
trying to think,
doubled down on the
what's he-
pose strats.
yeah,
It's
what's-
powerful. It's a power move.
Feels like he's just dropping bars in the rift.
What do you reckon?
That's true. He's beatboxing.
Yeah.
I thought he was smelling
It's like
his
a
knuckle.
1v1. Could be.
What?
It's like a rap battle, I thought. 1v1.
Anyway, he did really well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, look, good stats.
He played
he did.
very well.
Good
Also,
pose.
it was the center dream as far as like being able to play the game is concerned. If you're able, as center, to be able to stand in front of your minion wave and just hit them constantly, you're living your best life.
I feel like I've just found someone that can maybe match me in hairiness of arms as well. So, my man, Limus, he's king.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Now
Full
look-
circle.
All right, day 2. It's done and dusted.
Yeah.
Standings time. Let's have a look at where everyone's shifted because we've had a couple of upsets, a couple of curious cases of games today, haven't we? Peace going down to 5th. Order jumping up with a win today. Kanga now just 1 win behind Peace. Mammoth as well. Got another dub, but they're still down in 7th because, you know, Kanga got the win too. So there's no tie-up just there yet. Chief still undefeated. Gravitas still winless. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. Direwolves, I thought there was an angle for them and Pentanet to be, look, 7-3 or whatever. But with the order win, now they're back up into 2nd as well. So crazy, crazy days.
It was super possible for us to actually have a day today where everybody had an individual rank. It wasn't being no ties whatsoever, right? But ultimately, the narrative completely went out the window. The script has been broken. The predictions for the one team buff has gone absolutely through the roof. So we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to see if we can try and find some semblance of, you know, who is the team to keep your eye on.
Very true. But before we jump onto tomorrow, we have to remember the play of the day. And today, that play was Mammoth saving the day. So let's bring it up, have a look. It was when they defended the Nexus, managed to turn the game around, and of course then a series of fortunate events led to them coming back into the game and winning. So look, they weren't too far down at this point, but you have a look, Peace just with the full commit, thinking they can end it, but watch specifically Mikru here. He's untouched at the front for a fair while, just absolutely chunks those health bars, still pumping damage, still pumping damage, still pumping damage, and this man, I think he eventually goes down. No, okay, he's hit the Zonyas, but has just done more than enough. Doesn't go down at all. This man, the MVP for Mammoth today, and look, rightfully so when you're looking at situations like that, right?
Also,
Crazy.
it's nice that we're seeing Senna, right? It's good that all of these champions that were perma-banned for weeks here and not in the rest of the world are finally being allowed through the draft and are finally being picked. It's like we're actually coming back to what is more of the global meta. So it's very refreshing for us here in OC.
I feel like even just the games in general today felt a lot more structured overall. Like everything was making sense. There wasn't just like people getting caught out for no reason everywhere, which is what we saw a lot of yesterday. A little bit more chaos. Speaking of yesterday, we got it tomorrow too. We got a 3-day week here on the Super Week. Let's have a look at the games we're going to see. First game of the day, which was the runner-up to Match of the Week. PGG up against the Chiefs. Still a 4-win difference between these two because Chiefs are just beating all the bad teams, beating all the good teams too. And 7 PM. Got Gravitas and Kanga, which now I feel like is much more Kanga favored than what I feel like it was before. I would have said, oh, Gravitas, this is their chance, but Kanga are looking real good right now. Peace and Order, that could also be a very interesting one, depending on what piece we see. Will they bounce back with the losses we saw over today, over yesterday? And then Direwolves and Mammoth to round out the day. And Direwolves now losing to Kanga. The question is, can Mammoth do it again against Direwolves? Because they already did it today against PGG, a big win yesterday too. So there is a lot for tomorrow. There is a lot of potential in these 4 games, Skimmy. Which one are you looking forward to the most?
Either the third or the fourth one, to be honest. I feel like all these games are really exciting because they shouldn't all be, like, none of them should be a wash. It should all be fairly competitive, should have its angles, should have its moments. But I think the third or fourth game could have the most sparks, right? The fact that we keep hyping up Peace as being the potential, but it's not happening, but it could be. But what day have they woken up on? What side of the bed do they sleep on? What have they had for breakfast? Versus Order had just come out and be like, oh, we're MSI champions.
Did they change mice? Did they change meese? Did they change their sheets?
That's
Who knows?
right.
That's all the questions. Are they
true.
sleeping on 10,000 thread count?
This is how we prep for an LCO day.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
and
we
look,
check their thread count.
We do.
Yeah.
Speaking of sheets, I'm going to go check my thread count because I think it's time for bed. And we need to rest up. We've got a third big day coming up tomorrow. It's Wednesday. It's hump day, but it's the end of our week here on the Super Week. LCO delivered by Menulog, done and dusted for Tuesday, but we got one more big day. See you there. Same time, same place here on the LCO channel. Love you dearly.
You've got to try and do a valiant effort right now with Mammoth because you are losing this base one way or another. TN once again TP's in and slingshots through. They've got their focus, they've got their target, but Ali G dives forward to try and unsuccessfully remove the Ezreal from the equation. Ever so tough to try and do that. It is Cheon. He loves this chef, and he's absolutely smashing it. He's just going to go golden for just a second. As the final stretch of damage that Miku can admit comes across with a double, make it a triple, surely. Look how low they are. You said it, they got it. Guess he's going to jump in there, and he's going to get consumed by the Jinx Chompers. Straight into a volatile takeover. That Rogue is once again consumed in that very same spot once again. There's the Lightning Storm as Swimmer bursts into life looking for that kill. Bio just out of range with the slingshot, but it won't matter because the Ari has already done enough. Kisei is on fire. He can come back in with that Unleashed TP. Arthur is going to be the one that gets jumped upon. Poppy jumps straight into the backline, hits the Gnar against the wall, onto one key target. They've assassinated Raze. He couldn't flash, but he hit Cleanse, but that was just not enough. Darshan has been exhausted. Solan bounced back till he comes in with a package. They're not standing on that red carpet, but he hits like a truck, but he can't deliver. He's actually just fallen on down. No, Darshan has been burned after the fact, so that's a martyrdom. And now after it's a base, with a cat on their hat are just like, you've exposed your base. Do we just end the game, mate?
Mix here, 100%, but Human, fresh to fight.
Ultron jumps in, gonna lock them down, and just evaporated, just absolutely destroyed. Cassiopeia ultimate is still there. Cannon barrage on top of their heads. From top to bot, Kanga go. They claim everything to matter.
Fido.
Fido flashing in, but no, destroyed by Zeri. Dante's been silenced, and he's been taken down. Is the price right? Who knows? Because Bulldog is running, but he's just gonna get absolutely smashed by the double.
Hey, look, menu bump.
The LCO champion conundrum.